All right, guys, let's get to it today. So I'm going to start a little bit early. We're 10 minutes, but fuck it, whatever. So people will get caught up. So if you didn't hear the Fed OFMC rate decision and speech, I thought it was really good. I thought it was positive. I thought that it's a sign that we're going to see further upside. I'll take a look here. I'll show you some of that real quick here. Let's look at the SPY. So again, we're 10 minutes to close, but we're seeing a 1.8% bounce near the all-time highs of the day. Let's actually go over here. So not too far off the all-time highs of the day. So a nice number on the Standard & Poor's. Let's look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is near all-time highs, 3.11%, really outperforming, beating the S&P handedly. The Russell is actually starting to perform really well. It wasn't as high, but I shouldn't say really well. It was as high. It was actually up to 2,300. That is a pretty even number, and so that's acting as resistance today. But I do think small caps will rock it. But so far, so good across the board for all of these things. Let's look at the stock index, the map here. This is beautiful. Lots of green today. You can see NVIDIA leading that. Just, again, there's nothing bearish about seeing this, right? You want to see strong green after a Fed meeting where the Fed did not lower rates, but they said that they're going to if they don't see strengthening within the job sector or other areas. So if they don't see inflation taking off, if they see the job sector continuing like it's doing to get a little bit weaker, doesn't have to fall off a cliff, but just not strengthening. If they see services in these other areas that continue to weaken, they're going to lower rates, and I think that's going to give us the pump to go higher. That's my summarization of what came out of the meeting. But again, the S&P stock map looks great. Let's look at the crypto one real quick. Crypto is not doing as well, but I will say this. The crypto market is set up beautifully. If we look over here at the Bitcoin chart, we're still at, and this is just the core Bitcoin chart. I've turned off all the visuals. This is a beautiful place to be consolidating with a bull flag. You just have to keep it in perspective, guys. Here's the last cycle highs. And then look at what we've done here. We're in an epic bull flag. You can see what we did the last time we hit one. I think our target is at least 92,000 over the short term. So I'm really stoked about what's happening. All that looks good. Let's keep rocking and rolling. So we looked at indices. We looked at market indexes. Let's roll over. And again, my personal portfolio, I'm probably up 150,000 today across the board with everything. I don't hate that. Real quick, on the political front, I will start injecting more data. I might inject my own personal thoughts too. You're going to get that. That's just the way I am. But I did want to point out that using Real Clear Politics, one of the sites I've followed for, I want to say it's 20 years now. They basically just culminate all these polls. They have Trump now up 2. Before it was 1.7. So they actually have that increasing. And Biden, if we go back to July 31st of 2020, he was up by 7.8 at that time. So Trump is doing much better this time around than he was against President Biden in the 2020 race. I'm saying this because obviously short term, between now and November and just the beginning of this next year, we're going to see politics play a key role in industries and sectors and stocks that outperform. So we want to have an idea of how this is going. But I'll save the super political stuff for the end of the show. That's for the diehards. Anyway, let's take a look. So we don't have to look at July because we know we didn't get a rate cut. But let's look and see what the Fed has. What am I looking for here, guys? Did you change it on me? Let me move around. Oh, there we are. All right, so July, obviously 0% chance of a rate cut. But now that we're looking out into September after Powell spoke, we went from a 10% chance of 50 bip cut to 16%. So the market actually took this as we're doing at least one cut, maybe 2 in the next meeting. So very promising between the data that came out today and this. Let's look at, I'm going to get caught up with chat here real quick. I'm going to try and do both today. Constantino Lima says, what's up, Jesse? Checked my portfolio today and noticed that ETH. Oh, yeah. So if you see ETH and ETH in your portfolio, it's because of the mini trust. They basically split up your allotment and proportionally aligned it to where you're getting kind of the same thing. but it's the mini trust. I don't have all the details on it, but I know they were trying to do that to basically prevent people from bailing out of the funds. I don't know how well it's working. I'll do some more research on it, but essentially you own both. Jason G, what are your top 2 or 3 asymmetric option plays right now? Looking for leaps that can give a good return. Leaps are dangerous. I like Bitcoin related investments right now. I like miners if you want a nice multiplier without touching options. Otherwise, I still think Tesla is a great bet, even though it went up a decent amount today. I'm not as much as up as much as I was before. I was up over 300% on my calls. They're only up 100% right now. So I would actually say that these June 2026 330 strikes are still pretty fairly valued in my mind for what I think Tesla is capable of doing going forward. ARKG is another big one, right? Like I love ARKG. It's a good asymmetric bet. I've made a video on this. You can look it up on my YouTube channel, Micro to Macro. It's up 0.9%. It was actually doing a lot better today, so it started to trail off a little bit later in the day. But I think this is one that's just going to scream higher. It's been grinding above this support zone. If you look at the weekly especially, it's just kind of beautiful. Outside of one drop, you can see that it's been testing and basically acknowledging this support zone going all the way back to January of this year. That's a long-ass time. And this used to be resistance. And when if you go back and look at that green line, it goes all the way back to like January 2021. So this is a 3.5-year downward trend line that only broke up once, broke down hard, then broke up, and now for basically all of this year has just been grinding on the support and is looking to break out higher. When we get above the 31 mark, it's going to be beautiful. When we get above the 33, 34 range, that's just confirmation that this bitch is ready to take off, in my opinion. That's my thought process, just where I believe general markets are going to be. So I like that one too. And then PayPal, again, people are going to be asking me about PayPal and whether they should buy it when it's at 90, and I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say you can, but I wouldn't touch options. And that 10x that I got from mine, probably admittedly not 10x because I lost pretty hard on 2025. But let's say that 3x that I get on my overall investment, 3 to 4x, will be passed, and other people aren't going to get that. So again, you dial into these things when the timing is right, and I think the timing is definitely right for PayPal, especially if we get any kind of setback. But again, today up almost 3%, and we are just 2 minutes before close. So those are my asymmetric bets. That's what I'm thinking. Palantir, do you still think it's going to head downwards for a long time? I don't think it has to. It depends. The market getting really strong could push it higher. The problem I have about Palantir, and after this I'm going to switch back to U.S. economy and some other stuff. But the problem I have with this is that if we look, and I'm just going to shrink this up so it's viewable, we can see that there's been bearish divergence on the RSI since about August of 2023, and Palantir's been going up the whole time. So for almost a year, there's been divergence trying to pull it down and this is the 3-day time frame. It doesn't matter what we look at. If we look at the weekly, you can see where that one looks a little bit better. That one looks like it started to roll higher. But if we look over here on the MACD down here, we can see that the MACD still has that divergence. And if we look at the daily, again, the RSI looks better. The 3-day is the one where it looks really bad, but I would still argue that the chance of Palantir just rolling over, especially, here's the thing. This is the thing that I can't get people to understand for some reason, and I don't know why. But if you've bought something that's went up 354% from its recent high here, it was 400%. Palantir went up 400% if you bought it at the tippity top bottom right underneath $6, right? 400%. If it did that in a period of like less than around a year and a half, and you still think it's going to the moon happened. I mean, it can go a little bit higher. Don't get me wrong. The AI narrative could kick in more, but I don't see that happening. I see Nvidia being a strong AI play. I see others starting to struggle. This is still above support, but this wants to break down because it's got divergences trying to pull it down. And there's this natural oscillation that happens in markets and in everything where it's waves, right? And when you have really strong waves up, you can expect tension to pull that back down. Just like in all elements of science, if you're going to see this, right? Like gravity is a great example of that. You push forward really hard, eventually it catches up and starts to pull you back. So you have to think about things like this. I don't see this as being a great asymmetric bet right now, because if it went up to what the all-time high was, that's 68%. I'm talking about things that can 10x. So anyway, we'll count that as our Palantir session of this. Let's go back. So again, one, if not two rate cuts are coming. Let's look at the CNN Fear and Greed Index. We're not even in greed. Is that true? We're neutral. That's great. I love that. I love that because it means we have more to run. And in the crypto index, we've actually started to see it drop. Let me just let me see if I got it. I might have to click something to prove I'm a human. No, I don't want that fucking shit. Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I'm sure as hell not downloading something like that. All right, 61. So this has actually been dropping. If you look yesterday, it was 67. Last week, it was 69. It was actually in the 70s. So we're starting to see crypto just kind of really, stabilize, which is great. We want to see that. All right, so let's jump over here. So economic data. Let's take a look. And again, there's a lot of stuff. I already talked about ADP employment. We're not going to cover that. Benefits up 1%. That was pretty much in line with forecast. Wages was slightly underneath forecast. Employment cost index was 0.9%, whereas they thought consensus was 1 and forecast was 1.1. So this is actually good because the cost of employment is not as high as what they had forecast. That's good, right? We still have wages and benefits in line, but the costs aren't as high. That's a beautiful thing. Chicago PMI, again, I'm kind of going back here a little bit. So Chicago PMI was 45.3, consensus was 45, forecast was 47.8, so it kind of came in line of the two of those. If we look at the Chicago PMI and just jump out here 10 years, we can see where we're still in contraction territory. Actually, let me go max. We're still in contraction territory, and we've actually been down in the dumps here for a long time. If you go back, this is longer and arguably just as bad for the manufacturing sector as the depths of 2008. Now, we have less manufacturing nowadays versus what we had then. It's substantially smaller. I want to say it's almost half. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But so I would argue that this has actually been depressed for a long time. And if anything, we could see a rebound in this just based upon, again, oscillation. Especially if rates start to come down, right? Like maybe that ends up helping and it relieves some pressure and then some small businesses do some hiring and yada, yada, yada. So don't always pay attention to the doom and gloomers. And you can see the oscillation already in the pending home sales, right? So we were deep in the dumps at the lowest levels in October 2022. Am I a human or a robot that operates in its mouse inconsistently, a prototype optimist? My mouse is just like fluid like I am. Anyway. So October of 2022, November of 2022, we saw the depths, right? Negative 36 on here percent. It sucked. We went from peaks all the way down. Now we're trying to trend back up. And if anything, I think we could go up here a ways before, like, again, maybe rolling over and establishing a higher low. So, I think that's what's going to happen because with rates coming down, we're likely to see more home sales. There have been people, the market is compressed. The market wants to breathe. It wants to open up. MB, don't laugh at those jokes. And so if it's going to do that, then we're probably going to see home prices come down a little bit, and then I think they're built a large amount of apartments. I'm seeing them in multiple cities across this country, especially in the Midwest and areas I've been traveling. Vegas seems to have a similar setup. Florida, just a lot of areas that have been doing well economically have been building apartments like crazy. Ignore California, they're fucked. So I think we're going to see these turn around and start rolling up, and we know what happened with the Fed. So let's skip that and move on. All right, so gold hit a new all-time high. And then somebody posted underneath it, what about Bitcoin? I don't know, man. Bitcoin's doing pretty fucking good. Jesus Christ. People are so fucking impatient. Oh, hey, we did exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. So let me take this off. So if you were in the FOMC meeting, I said we've got a bear flag over here. I think I need to go to the 4 hour maybe, or yeah, right here, the 4 or the 1 hour. You can see this bear flag that formed, and I said we'd probably dump towards the 65 range. We appear to be trying, or at least right now, finding resistance on the first fib, which is green, and we could roll over more. This is a rising, broadening wedge, so it could try and test down lower, maybe on the 4 hour. Let me see. I don't know that it has to go down to 62. Could do that. Could stop here on the 100 if we're looking at the daily time frame. That's very possible. So it doesn't matter though. None of this matters. And again, maybe we stop right here at 65. This is the fib level. This is a great area to turn into support. If we look over here, you can see that hella wick that bounced off of it. So maybe we turn it into something here. But here's the deal. I actually hope it does go lower because I think small caps are going to do really well and find tons of liquidity. I think some other risk-on investments are going to do really good. And you cannot bitch when you look at what Bitcoin has done since July 8th. So I don't want to hear people say, oh, why is gold getting a new all-time high? That doesn't mean shit. Gold is up 24% in 13 fucking years. If I look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin, even now with the amount it's dropped, is up 22% in a couple of weeks. In weeks, not 13 years. So gain some fucking perspective on the data that you're looking at and quit being dipshits. Nobody in here, of course. Possibly. Anyway, moving on. That's my gold. Bleh. All right. I kind of talked about this in the last one, but I want to make sure people are clear on this. This isn't so much economic, but it does involve the banking and payment sector. I don't think X Payments destroys all of these companies next year. I do think it starts to take the pie out of credit card companies, and I think these other fintech plays are going to continue to do the same thing. There's an ever-growing pie and addressable market, or TAM, total addressable market, within the fintech space, and definitely within Meta got a beat. Sweet. That's just going to drive markets even higher after hours. Let's take a look here. We'll actually, let me see here. I'll probably grab this, pull it down to this screen, and I'm going to put this as a stock that is visible. This is Bitcoin right now, but we're going to adjust this real quick, and we're going to pull up Meta. I want to see how well this thing's running. Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate you guys in chat. So Meta is up almost 7% in after hours. I don't like this company because of, well, shit ton of reasons. I did make $250,000 off of them last year, but I do like to see them doing well because it lets me know that the broader markets are doing well. Oh, let me see. Why isn't that showing? Let me fix this. I'm going to fix the stock real quick. It's not showing right. It'll take 2 seconds to address. I'll just click on clickety-click and a little thing like that, and then boom. Okay, so yeah, so there's Meta. There's Meta in after hours. They had a good day. They were up 2.5% earlier. Now they're up over 6. That's an 8+% move, guys. There's nothing to hate there whatsoever. All right. So anyway, so my whole point here is don't be invested in credit card companies, I think, in the future. If you live in Asia or other parts of the world, these don't even exist. Like in China, this isn't even a thing. They're using their phones for everything. We're going to be doing the same thing. X payments will grow crazy fucking fast at the end of the year when they do open up, I believe. But at the same time, PayPal, SoFi, other areas, Square, other areas of fintech are probably going to benefit as well because they're going to eat the banks. That's what happens. And then they'll eat the banks, and then eventually they'll start to get eaten by Bitcoin and crypto. So cleaner plays that don't have any intermediaries at all. That's just how things work. There will be centralized services, though, but, this is what happens. Kyle Chan, this is something that I found in the last meeting, or the last session when I was doing the FOMC, and I just wanted to point it out. It shows that China's investment rebalancing and what's happened since the pandemic. And so they have been trying to pull down the real estate market for a while. So there's no investing that's been going on in that sector for about 3 years. And it started to roll over in like 2020. So it's just getting decimated right now. But at the same time, though, they've really been working hard on since the drop and at the pandemic, they've been pushing manufacturing hard, specifically things like EVs and sectors that they want to dominate. So again, these guys are not our friends. They want to hurt us, and that's what they're doing. Now, Ukraine, without getting political here, Zelensky signed a law allowing Ukraine's debt payment suspension. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has signed a law allowing the government to suspend foreign debt payments until October 1st, paving the way for a moratorium to be called that would formally mark a sovereign default. I don't know if it's great that the company that the country we're funding and giving all this money to is going to be in a position to be able to default on their debts. Anyway, interesting though. I don't know if it's going to have much effect in the markets. Maybe. Could be a narrative for a bit. Also, I talked about this earlier in the FOMC meeting, but I'm just going to glance over it right now. I do think that Powell and him waiting a long time to drop rates is deliberate. I think he's been putting pressure on China's currency and economy deliberately to weaken them and make the world very clear that they are weaker than the United States. Even though, again, they've got their more electricity output. They're doing a lot of things right, but they're still a communist dictatorship that's incredibly corrupt. Makes us look good. And at the same time, they locked up their people for 3 years. They had a one-child policy, which has gave them the worst demographic cliff in history. There's a shit ton of things that are messing with China right now, and I think the Fed was one of them. And I do think that the Fed also, too, wanted other countries to start lowering rates before the Fed, because that shows that they are weaker than us. So right now, we look stronger than China, we look stronger than these other countries, and then we come in it from a position of strength, still telling everybody we're strong. I hope no more dips on PayPal. I hope there are more, but I feel you. It's been a long time. No, again, totally, dude. I get you. All right, Thomas Lee. So again, we'll get through the economic data, then we're going to jump over to Bitcoin, Tesla, and then a little bit of PayPal today, because I think it's warranted, right? So Tom Lee said the most likely path post-FOMC, hey guys, we're post, we're not pre, it already happened, is a rally in equities led by small caps. Now, people are going to immediately say, but Tom, small caps aren't outperforming today. It doesn't fucking matter. Meta's dropping a little bit, 3.5 now percent on the day. I'm thinking a lot of people are probably watching that conference call. I don't really give a shit about it. I'll catch up with it later. Oh yeah, this was a comment I made earlier too in the FOMC. It said the Magnificent Seven stocks have now erased a combined 2.6 trillion of market cap over the last 20 days. That's an average of 125 billion in market cap. Let's see here. They also had some other, 2.6. So 2.6 trillion in 20 days is a lot of money. Made up a decent chunk of that today for at least companies like Nvidia and a few others, including, really most of these. So I just wanted to point that out, that this was foretold yesterday, and I agreed with it as well, and that it's going to be a nice rotation for small caps. So we'll see how that plays out. You guys can grade me over time. Magnificent Sevens are 0 for 3 so far. Just talking about earnings and not meeting expectation between Tesla, Google, and Microsoft. It sounds like Meta's a beat. Let's see if it continues to be a beat. It looks like, again, up 2.5 today and then up 3.5 post is not bad. Tom Lee said the Fed should not play a game of keeping their options open at the upcoming meeting. They either cut now, unlikely, or strongly signal cuts are on the way. I think they strongly signaled that cuts are on the way from this meeting. They never blatantly say anything, but again, there was so much softening and dovishness in his tone, and then just the setup of if data isn't getting stronger, we're probably going to cut is what I got from it. IWM showing its hand, a strong hand. So this is from Seth Golden. I love him. He's great. And Tom follows him a lot. Tom actually follows me too, which is great. Anyway, he said, at least for now, IWM has pulled ahead of the QQQ year to date. So right now, QQQ is probably beating it. Just because this is old. This is yesterday, right? Not many had this in their bingo card a month ago. But I do think this is the trend that's going to continue. And so I agree with all those guys. The only probability that existed was a small cap breakout. The only probability that existed was a breadth broadening. The only probability that exists now is an everything rally. The only thing that needs is a catalyst. Can you smell what the Fed is cooking? I can. Let's see here. Also, just a quick point out here that the IWM on the 27th had its breakout moment. And again, I think we're going up. So that's the economy. We're done with that part. Let's move on. We're going to jump over to Bitcoin. and then we'll get on to Tesla and the rest. This is amazing to me. This is Andres Antonopoulos 11 years ago, a legend and a goat in the Bitcoin space, talking to an empty room of people trying to get them to understand Bitcoin. Boy, don't you wish you could have been somebody in here using all your brain capacity that day, and have some understanding of what the Fed was doing to damage our economy and the government was doing because of all the debt load that we have, the 35 trillion or whatever number we're at now. Because you could have made so much money if you were in that. But now, 11 years later, we've got presidential candidates, former presidents, talking about it, along with so many more. Fred Krueger, I kind of like this guy. Sometimes he's off, but he's got a PhD. That's probably why. Anyway, your job is going to be replaced by AI. Your fiat savings are going to get inflated to zero. Your real estate is going to be taxed like crazy. Your overpriced stocks will suffer PE compression. I agree with these things. I don't think they're coming right away. Your country might adopt the economic policies of Venezuela. God, I hope we don't. Please don't elect Kamala. Bitcoin news. Grayscale's Mini ME Bitcoin ETF launches today with a 1.7 billion assets under management and a groundbreaking 0.15% fee. So I think this is the thing. The Mini is what ETH and Bitcoin are trying to do in order to be able to give people those lower fees while holding on to the high fees for the other people that are kind of locked in and probably not going to be trading out anytime soon. So I think that's what they're doing. That way they can have the best of both worlds. Carvana is a beat. eBay is a beat. Sweet. Let's take a look actually and see what Bitcoin's price is doing. Is Bitcoin liking any of this? Nope, Bitcoin's continuing to fall. All right, we'll look at other stuff in a second here. All right, Bitcoin Magazine. That doesn't actually surprise me, by the way. Just in, Fidelity International lists a physical Bitcoin ETP. This is like an ETF, but what they're able to do in Britain. So they did that on the London Stock Exchange, which is great. Huge breaking. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill from Senator Loomis officially locks in first Senate co-sponsor. She said at the end of the Bitcoin meetup that she was looking for co-sponsors. She got her first one. That's awesome. Just a quick reminder on Bitcoin from Rec Capital. This is where we are in the timeline of the halving event. Okay, this is where we're at. And if you look here, there's a consistent pattern. And if you look at this circle and see what comes next, this one got neutered, probably would have been up here. You can see that 150,000, probably bare minimum 180 or ish around there is coming. And it would suck not to own Bitcoin. U.S. Congressman Rakhana states that nice looking Indian chap states that being against Bitcoin is like being against cell phones or the laptop and semiconductors. Why wouldn't America want to lead in something that is used by so many millions of people around the world? USA will win. Let's see what party he is associated with, because I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see if he actually puts it in here. She is American. Trump says that Kamala Harris has all of a sudden made a turn. And I can't tell what he is just by glancing. Make the time to steal the U.S. again. We can do it better and cleaner than China. Okay, so I don't know what he is, but again, I do believe that you're going to see more politicians on both sides of the fence that are going to find this approach. Radar says SEC withdraws request for court to classify crypto tokens like Solana and Cardano as securities in its lawsuit against Binance. That is pretty freaking awesome. Again, the SEC has just got a very weak hand right here, and we like that. CNBC asked Bill Miller why companies would want to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We're going to listen to this real quick.
Now, certainly, if more companies decide that they want to buy and never sell Bitcoin, it's going to increase the demand relative to the fixed supply. We all know that would work in favor of the prices. But what problem is solved by companies doing that? I mean, I just don't know how many companies are really going to want to place that sort of an asset on their balance sheet and have that be an aspect of their story.
Well, I think it's worth asking what their alternatives are. And the alternative is you can buy a treasury asset that whose white paper says it's going to depreciate at 2% a year at least. And if you look back at the history of the Federal Reserve, they printed approximately 6% supply growth over an incredibly long period of time. 6% supply growth, that just happens to correlate with the long-term growth rate of nominal GDP. What do you know? So here's the real deal. Bitcoin is the new global denominator for capital. So the problem it solves is you don't have all of these politicians running around trying to curry for favor and redistribute wealth and change taxes and change all sorts of things. You get what you get. You get 21 million Bitcoin and that's it. And so, we're incredibly optimistic about it over the long term as these dominoes continue to fall in favor of Bitcoin.
All right. So again, I think he was pretty clear on that. There is no alternative, right? The U.S. dollar is degrading by at least 2% if you're lucky. So I did want to point out. So we've got this potentially if we're looking at the daily on Bitcoin, a double top, right? Like something similar of what we saw over here is happening again. We had a triple over here, a double over here, another double here, and so the breakdown for that move is down towards the 200 moving average on the daily. If that happened for some reason, you should not be scared. This is purely technical play, and I would expect it very quickly to launch back up and get above the 50, if not the 100 moving average, in order to get that final push, higher to where we're starting to break out. So OneMed, MB said OneMed added to their Bitcoin today. That's awesome. So that's just another company that's out there, like MetaPlanet and a bunch more that are adding Bitcoin all the time, not to mention the original OG Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy. So this is good stuff. This is good stuff for Bitcoin. Russia considering legalizing Bitcoin and crypto for global payments, Russia's central bank governor. Also, and I don't know if I have the slide in here,
certainly
that same governor was talking about how El Salvador and Bukele were reaching out to them about doing business in Bitcoin. I think that's very likely and probably going to happen. I think that's it for we got ARK Invest. She says Bitcoin is the layer of the internet. It's simply next generation of the internet. This is only 2 minutes. I want to play it.
One reason that we've seen the price appreciation recently is the recognition more and more. There's a lot of education taking place, especially 11 ETFs issued at the same time. You've got 11 asset managers out there educating as many people as possible. And what are we saying to them to make this understandable? We're saying that Bitcoin is 3 very big ideas in one. It's a technology, right? But if you think about it, it's leveraging off the internet. It's the layer of the internet that developers didn't put in place in the early 90s because they never dreamed that financial services or commerce would take place on the internet. So it's simply the next generation of the internet. It is a monetary system, the first global, decentralized, private, no government oversight, no throat to choke, digital, rules-based, that's extremely important, monetary system in history. So there's tech, there's economics, and then the third thing, and this we brought to light with the ETF issuance, is it is a new asset class, and every asset manager, retail or institutional, has to consider putting a new asset class in their clients' portfolios. Why? Because of the low correlation of returns. What that means, you slot some Bitcoin in, and your return per unit of risk goes up. And every institution knows that, and so they have a responsibility to understand what Bitcoin is and what kind of investment opportunity it will represent for their clients. So I think that ETF issuance has really helped cement this story and is beginning to generate deeper understanding more broadly in the investment world.
It certainly has. And I think
So I would agree with all of this. I actually think there's so many small investment firms that are affiliated with all these different brokers, and they haven't had the push to gear people towards Bitcoin until like now. And with the CFTC, with all this anti-Bitcoin coming from the SEC, the CFTC was actually the person who was previously running it was very pro Bitcoin, and then that switched again with the administration. But But we've seen just a really tough market for it. We've seen it to where these guys haven't been told, hey, start recommending it. We've got all these funds. Why aren't you pushing them? And all that stuff is changing now, and we're looking at banks that are going to be that are fighting to be able to custody Bitcoin and crypto. So it's all changing. It's changing very quickly. Now, Silas said here so a couple things. John Najarian said, although Harris, he said, hey, do you think Bitcoin's getting hit because of Trump maybe losing momentum? And I said, no, I don't think that's true. Trump right now is up, 2 points in the polls, whereas the same time with Biden in 2020, he was down almost 8. 7.8, I think, as of right now, if we look over here on Real Clear Politics. I've been following this site for over 20 years. I've been right about who's going to be president for 25-ish. So I've called all of them, guys. I called Biden last time, and he was the person I voted for, too. Trump right now still has it in the bag, and Kamala Harris is a fucking idiot who's a communist. So I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to overthrow her, but I also would have never guessed that we'd have open communist flags from the communists of America marching through cities. So it's going to be fun, but I don't think she stands a chance in hell. I do worry, though. There's a strong Muslim population in Michigan, and it's just some of the people that she picks as her vice president could strengthen her. So I'm going to keep an eye on that and see what that looks like. But yeah, no, right now I don't care about that. Silas said the alternative is heavy government crackdown. They can make Bitcoin acceptance sparse, regulate, or block the on-ramps and off-ramps. People say their self-custody prevents it, but $100 Bitcoin again, no, that'll never happen. So here's the game mechanics of Bitcoin. Even if the United States was stupid enough to do that, you know what would happen? Russia, China, all of Asia, most of Africa, the EU would probably still stay on board with it. Large amounts of South America and Central America, where they kind of already use this thing as a currency, trading in between each other if they're able to. The game theory takes care of all of that. So the only people that would really be missing out would be Americans. But I don't even see that happening because at least conservatively, 1/3 of Americans have some skin in the game with Bitcoin and crypto related investments and have a positive look at it. So I don't see politically how that's viable unless the Democrats think they can turn us into Venezuela in one term. So I don't think they'd, and again, it would be so hard. It would be so hard because really you only have 2 years, right? You don't have 4 to fuck it up. You only have 2 to fuck it up. You need power over the House and the Senate. You need to control the presidential branch to fuck it up, right? And to really make things move and to do all these bans and all the stuff that you're talking about, you really need acts of Congress that have to go through the president. So unless Democrats sweep, which I see no way of happening whatsoever, there's no way they're getting all 3. Maybe the House, because again, they can use all those illegal immigrants to buff up the numbers for this consent or for the census, and then they can basically count that as we deserve more seats in the House. So they could cheat that way, and they could cheat by just not requiring IDs and some weird shit, and they could maybe win in some of these places. But I think the likelihood of them taking it all is really, really low, and honestly, I think it's going to go the other way for a number of reasons. Anyway. Talked about that a bit too long, I think. Let's go back. So anyway, so I think Bitcoin is super strong. Again, I just want to point out that even if we drop to the 61, 62 range, we are in a big fucking bull flag that I've showed you guys a few times now. Anyway, and somebody was buying 300 million on the 30th. So again, like, this isn't dying. This isn't dying, guys. There's a lot of money coming through crypto right now. All right, let's move on to Tesla real quick, and then we'll hit PayPal and then move on to some others. Let me see comments real quick. So true from John. Silas would be a complete loss for all, but a few whales. They'd also have to work hard to sell it. Yeah, again, that's not realistic. It's never going to happen. Renato, hi from Norway. What's up, dude? Andrew, Cypher holding any hodling any BTC. Are they holding BTC? I mean, we can see that over here with visualstocks.com. I do believe that they are a holder of BTC. It's one of the reasons I liked them. It's the main reason I like Mara is because they bought $100 million worth of Bitcoin fairly recently. Maybe they're in a position to buy more. You can see their production here, but under Visual Stocks, if you click over here, you can see their holdings in USD. And I would say they've went up a decent amount, wouldn't you? That looks pretty parabolic growth. So, yes, they've added a lot. They're holding a lot. They're not selling a lot of Bitcoin. This is the right move for this point in the cycle. You can see that same pattern with other companies too, like CleanSpark. Let's just look at some of these that are really doing a good job with their HODL stack. Again, steady growth, but wow, what a turn up. What a turn up. And then Mara, and what is it in US dollars? This one. So Cypher was like 100 and something million. These guys are 357. Now here comes the big kahuna. Mara. Nope, not oil. Not oil. We don't want oil. We want digital holdings. So if we look at the chart here, this is crazy. $1.234 billion. And I would argue Mara's doing a pretty good job here at going higher. So it's not horrible. And at a 37 forward PE, this thing could go to 100, man. Fuck that shit. Alex Garcia, and on top of Bitcoin's price going up. Let me clear my little thing in the left here. So you can see Bitcoin still down 2% in the last 24 hours. Meta still up 4.46. So again, the markets appear to be doing good. It's just crypto that's holding back today. Alex Garcia, Bitcoin doesn't need Trump, but Trump needs Bitcoin. I don't think he needs Bitcoin, but I think they both benefit from each other. Sealess, because again, Bitcoin does. You can't say Bitcoin doesn't need Trump. Trump has said that he'll make it a reserve asset. Trump has said that he'll create a Bitcoin council. He's promised a bunch of stuff that's incredibly beneficial towards the network and crypto in general, right? He's promised legislation that helps in his first 100 days get this council going, and then work on legislation that helps push stable coins too. That's actually beneficial for the United States, and it's beneficial for crypto. So because we want to stay the world reserve currency, whether it's digital or cash, right? So it's actually, I mean, this actually, Trump would benefit Bitcoin immensely. Now, does Bitcoin need Trump? No. Would it benefit greatly from it? Yes. And will Trump benefit from being a fan of Bitcoin? Yes. So again, they're symbiotic. Sealess. Jesse, my comment had the second part above. I mean, a coordinated U.S., EU, Japanese. There's no reason to do that, Sealess. That's not a real thing. That's not a real thing. That's not... there's no reason to do that. That would be like an idiotic... That'd be a beyond stupid move. And again, you need an act of Congress and the president. You're not getting that. There is none of that. That's not. I mean, there's just no way. Well, I'll be amazed if Republicans sweep in November and then get control of everything. They could. Democrats definitely can't, in my opinion. But again, so I don't think there's going to be like complete power in anybody's hands. But there will be a major push. If Republicans do get some power, or a decent amount of power, there'll be a push from Democrats who want to get elected in the future 2 years later to be supportive of Bitcoin. Sealess, I don't think BTC will be... Yeah, I don't think any of that's happening. I really don't, dude. I really don't. Respect your idea, but I think it's stupid. But I love you. It's just my gut, man. It's everything I know about this tells me that's wrong. Tech, YYZ. What do you think about Riot? I like it. It's okay. I don't know if it's my favorite miner, but we can look real quickly and see how they're doing on their Bitcoin HODL stack. I don't remember what their hash rate is. I do need to do this. Am I doing it tonight? Maybe I'll do it tonight. I might do it tonight or early tomorrow before I head out on my trip with my family. I want to do an update on Bitcoin miners and what I think of them. Jesse, if socialists sweep the world regulatory... Yeah, that's not the trend, though, Sealess. So it looks like, in polling in current elections, that Trudeau is fucked in Canada. Argentina swept off of a conservative view, right? A conservative, fiscally responsible view, Bitcoin-friendly view, America-friendly view, and they did well. We're seeing in France not Liz Truss, I forget... whatever her name is, running against Trudeau, or not Trudeau, Macron. Jeez, wow. I need some sleep, man. Is doing really well. So we're seeing a conservative push across many parts of the world that have been leaning liberal for years, if not decades, depending upon which parts you're talking about, but now are switching back and going the other way. So there's like these tides and trends. I think a lot of people realize COVID was really overblown and it fucked a bunch of economies for no real reason. We could have just told old people like, hey, if you're fucking old, you can stay home and we'll give you some extra money and you can order DoorDash and then try not to die. We'll like disinfect the outside of the bag or some stupid shit. But it's up to you on what you do. We'll help you, but it's up to you. Instead, everybody locked down everything, right? Not everywhere in the United States. That's the great thing about the United States is we have a state-led system where they can operate independently outside of federal rules that everybody has to run by, right? And Supreme Court related rules. So Florida did it differently, and look how well their economy benefited. California did a shitty job and acted like communist China. Look how well they're doing. They got crackheads everywhere. They got drugs everywhere. They got people leaving like crazy. All of Elon's companies taking off and going to Texas. Texas was really open too. And so again, we have this system where states can try different things and then see what performs well. And I think a lot of people saw that there were a lot of bad decisions made over the last 3.5 years. That's my take. Independently, as somebody who voted for Biden. Because again, I'm one of them. And there's like a shit ton of me. All right, Riot. Key charts. They're holding about 605 million, so it's a larger amount than CleanSpark. But if you look, their growth rate for their Bitcoin holdings isn't as good. And again, I'll do a more specific mining video. I'll try and get it out tonight or tomorrow morning before I head out, where I'm going to go over some of the work from Sebastian Ski, somebody who I love and I paid for. Haven't looked at his work in a while. Going to go over that in that video to give people a better perspective. And I'll probably look at some of the AI plays too, after watching some of his videos and his thoughts, and then looking at the data and maybe some James from Invest Answers too, and then come up with my own thesis on how my thesis is working out, and if I've changed my mind on anything. All right, which is the better, so Flying for Food said, which is better to hold, MicroStrategy or actual BTC on a ledger? I mean, those are two completely different concepts. So I have Bitcoin on a ledger, Bitcoin on a hardware wallet. I don't talk about it. I don't talk about the amounts or any of that stuff. I believe that there's a place for that, because if things really hit the fan, and for some reason Kamala gets elected and they want to start confiscating people's Bitcoins, and they're doing it, they're like, pass some laws to go after Coinbase, like some stupid shit that I don't think is likely. But do you want insurance? That's your ledger, in my opinion. Your ledger is insurance. And if the worse the world gets, the more you use a ledger or a Trezor or any of these other hardware wallets, as long as they're secure. And I'm not going to go into all that because there's so many people that have different opinions about wallets and what is secure and what's best and yada, yada, yada. Maybe I'll do a video on it and break some of it down. There's a lot of schools of thought, but I think that that's something you have to have. MicroStrategy is just a 1.5 to 2x play of the underlying. It could be a 3x play. Right now, I think it's at 2x versus what they have for Bitcoin holdings. So it's kind of a 2x play right now. It can drop, it could go higher, it could go to 3x in my opinion. But again, some of that's already happened. So you got to kind of price that in if you're looking to buy now. But I like them both for different reasons. And then I like miners the most. Cypher, I think, has the most room to run. Then CleanSpark, then Mara. There's others out there too. The AI narrative was really big. I don't know if that's going to hold up. I don't think it is. But if you think it is, then you got the Irons, the Huts. I wouldn't touch Hut. I love Sue. She's cute. But beyond that, I don't know. Let me see here. Seedless, I agree. BTC crushing is unlikely, but it's possible, and it's a very small concern in my mind. Renationalization sentiments in Europe and Asia could make governments. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the tide. I don't think that's the tide we're seeing. And if the tide turns, then I could end up being wrong. But I think we'll get some very clear visibility into that. I don't think that's the tide. I think the tide's going in the opposite direction. Flying for Food, still a little worried about the government that's stepping in and stopping what Saylor is doing. I don't think that's going to happen. You got to realize, guys, we're in a point right now where everybody in government knows that we need either A, more taxes, B, growth, C, devaluation of currency so that we can lower our interest on debt, lower rates. Like there's some, if you're Elizabeth Warren, you maybe don't get this, but most of the government, I listen to all these dipshits all the time, okay? I've been listening to them talk about crypto since 2017. I have heard so much stupid shit coming out of these guys. Most of them have woke up about what's going on in our economy, what needs to be done in order to be able to keep us afloat. And it sure as fuck isn't taking something that could help with growth and then demonizing it and crushing it, especially when a third of voters want it. The party that does that is committing suicide. So I am not worried about that right now. That could change in the future, but no, man, I'm not worried. MB, would you disclose only percentage terms? How does your kid's portfolio look like? My daughter does not have a portfolio. I probably wouldn't be in bonds. I would be, I mean, with a kid. So if you're talking about your grandpa, they should maybe be in bonds right now. God, I feel bad for them if they were in bonds over the last 4 years because they got fucked. That's most people, sadly. But you want to be in more conservative related things. I do think that Bitcoin would still be a part of that, and that Tesla would still be a part of that personally, because I think they're almost like they're guarantees, and you would still have that going too. But for a kid, man, risk fucking on Bitcoin, Tesla, everything that could do really well and is building the future. If you have some concept of what the future is, and you got a kid who doesn't even need to think about it for 10 or 15 years, fucking no-brainer. Matt Nintendo. Hey, Jesse, could you give your take on NVIDIA? I think it's going to do well. I think it's a good stock. I think it was probably a decent buy. I was looking to get into it, but I was doing traveling to get my Cybertruck back. They fixed my vault. I still got to get the armor shield fixed underneath of it. I'm waiting on a part, and so they're fixing that and the tailgate hatch thing, and then I think maybe the wiper motor, because I think there was a recall for it. So they're fixing all like the little odd and end shit, but I was gone, so I didn't really have too much. Sorry. So I wasn't able to buy. See this, Jesse, I'm fleshing out potential risk just because BTC has come to seem like a sure thing. No, I feel you, but you don't always need to be the contrarian. My constant goal is to assess risk using what I believe to be the highest probabilities of truth weighed across numerous factors. And if I'm leaning heavily towards this is like global liquidity is expanding and see signs that Republicans are doing better and Trump's doing better than they were in 2020, and that there's signs that they could end up getting into office, and that's Bitcoin friendly, and then all the other stuff that's going on that's lining up for markets to do really well, then that's the side I'm going to err on. And then if I end up making money, I'm going to start hedging with things like TMF, right? That way I can get that 3x play on the 20-year. All right, I like it better when you go off like a frog in a sock about hopeless Democrats. A frog in a sock. I fucking love that. I love that, Chris. That was great. I'm going to try and remember that one. See, Liz, buying bonds now could be a good guarantee. I think it's a great idea right now. Again, the 2 years rolling over. And the 20-year, you're getting ready. So I should say this: the 2-year rate is rolling over, and on the 20-year, you can have something that's paying you dividends and that has a 3x multiplier and could maybe double in the next year or two. That's my take on the 20 on the TLT. And using TMF, that's how I get the double, because it's a 3x fund. All right, MB, I am 80% T-bills, 10% Tesla, 10% miners for the kids. I think that's too conservative. But I don't know how old your kids are. But again, the younger you are, the more you want to put money in stuff that's riskier so that you can benefit from the opportunity, because you can always add more, right? So I think that's way. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a high school drop. I only went to high school for a year and a half. So and I am technically in my basement. So take it for what it's worth. But I personally think that give your kids some fucking wealth when they're of age. C-list, unless Kamala hyperinflation kicks in. Maybe, but you know what happens with Kamala hyperinflation? And Bitcoin goes up. So then all that stuff sitting on your hardware wallet's worth a shit ton of money. Oh, somebody joined. HH, thanks, man. Welcome, brother. You should be able to comment. I believe the same day you joined. So if you want to throw out a stock or something you want me to look at, yeah, BTBT. I will take a look, sir. Spencer, let's see. Walter, I must be a kid at 70 plus. You know what? I'm 46 and I'm still pretty fucking. I made 700% last year, so whatever. Just depends on your capacity and your ability to be able to predict the future too, right? If you're good at this, I think I am, then you can make a lot of money, and then you can be riskier even when you're older, especially if you have a lot of money. And I'm a multimillionaire, so I can have a little fun. Spencer Caleb, Jankowski. From James at Invest Answers, BTC held miners, Mara. Yeah. That's what we're seeing too. Again, so Mara, it's Mara, Riot, then Hut. I don't like Hut because that short report was just so fucking damning. I just don't believe that they're well managed at all. Maybe some of that's changed and I should have hung out with Sue. I don't know. She keeps trying to get me to. But I just don't like Hut. But yeah, so otherwise, Mara, Riot, CleanSpark, and then it says Hive at 24.96, and then Cypher. So I love Cypher because it's such a small cap. So again, some of mine are some of the biggest holders, right? John Najarian, any thoughts on Lulu chart, macro, the dip? Yeah, I'll get back to some of that stuff in a second. I will definitely cover those guys. So let me get back into Tesla real quick. Just focus on that for a minute. Again, Tesla, not angry about Tesla, guys. We're pushing up hard against that 200 moving average on the weekly. If we get back above this and break above like the 240 range, we are looking at a confirmed breakout of a downward trend from November of 2021. And I'll take trends that, are 3.5 years ago, or three plus years ago, less than 3 years. Jesus Christ. Whatever. So shameful, my math. All right. Anyway, let's go back over here and look at the stuff that we're talking about lately with Tesla. This is from Tesla Chan. I love him. He's talking about Tesla's vertical integration and how great it is. This is the drive unit team and just what they've been able to accomplish. They just got their 10 millionth drivetrain. And we're just going to watch this for a second. I think it's great. I don't know if I'll play the audio. I'm going to kill the audio. And this is in the Chinese branch. The drive unit covers battery energy to power our vehicles. There's Tim. Tim's the whitest Chinese man I've ever seen. Oh, no, we're in a different location. I don't know what he's...
Simultaneously and ramping to much more. At the time, figuring out material flow to now where we're operating 5 lines simultaneously and ramping to much more.
Every part of the drive unit's designed and built from the ground up. These things, again, just Tesla has the best battery systems of any company that's out there. They've got the best drivetrain systems. They're amazing, guys. They're super amazing. Oh, and I was trying to get Elon's attention here. I'm not going to play this, but my buddy Cybertruck guy just did a beautiful job on this video about the Cybertruck, talking through the features, on off-roading with it. It's just professional grade advertising, guys. This thing is amazing. He did such good work.
It's like continues over there somewhere.
He literally, again, showing you everything, showing you the interior, showing how the truck was holding up on different pieces. It's just a great video, talking about his 10 experience, talking about the off-road modes for like Baja and all that. It's awesome. And it's so great because, again, everybody bitches about how Tesla doesn't advertise. They don't need to. Jay-Z's stepping into his fucking Cybertruck. Cybertruck guy is making videos that are more professional than advertising teams and some of the best companies out there. We are the advertising for Tesla. Don't get it mixed up. Tesla Chan said Elon confirmed that mass production of its next generation hardware 5 will begin in about 18 months, which is great. Again, that's the level of scale of growth and change, and it's just happening so fast across every segment. Again, Xpeng CEO says that Tesla has the upper hands in terms of technology capabilities when it comes to FSD. There is nobody better. Tesla, China, just reported 13,500 units for the fourth quarter in July. That's one of the highest numbers for reads. It's a good number. It shows that they're starting to pick up pace. If you look especially for July, you see the first week was weak, 6,500, then it was 11,4, then it was 10,5, now it's 13,5. So we're starting to see some growth there, which is really good. And I was going to say, I'm trying to look here too. See if I have it somewhere. Do I have it? Maybe right here. Tesla inventory. Let's see how inventory is doing. Which way are we going? So we're seeing increases in 3 and Y inventory, but we're still comparatively, let's see, can I go back even further? Last 12 months, last quarter. I think this is the last 12 months that I'm already on. but I'll scroll down just to see if it, yeah, it is. Okay, so this is the longest we can go. So if you look here, we're still much lower across the board here. We've crept up with the Model 3, but we basically are no real difference than where we were a year ago in regard to inventories. And again, like Model S is down for inventory. Model X is pretty much flat, 2 down from where we were in June. So, and then if you look at the Model Y, look how much higher it was here and how much further it's down. So even with it creeping up, once we have Juniper coming out, once we have 1010 coming, all these things, I can tell you, I get so many people are looking at cars and Teslas just from like me driving around my Cybertruck in my local community. I think you're going to see more stuff like that, and you'll see inventories going down. And again, here's Jay-Z.
Thanks, Jay.
This is Jay-Z getting into a Cybertruck, right? What's not to love?
Hey, no, Coach, tell tomorrow for you, man.
This is like every rich, powerful, rapper, basketball player, football player, musician, like all these people in Hollywood, they're all about the Cybertruck. And it's not just there, it's all over the place. And it's becoming the cool it car, because it just stands out, and it will continue to. Once again, fixed to be an over-the-air software update. No service center visit required. Again, the headlines, don't believe this bullshit. Tesla recalling over 1.8 million cars in the U.S. over hood issue, says National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. Now, again, there's terminology that Tesla has to use, like recall. Okay, they have to use that. It's just a part of how it's constructed, and everybody seems to ignore the over-the-air update part. Yeah. Anyway, the Tesla Model Y is got the highest safety score of any vehicle ever tested. Ever. And I might have talked about this one yesterday. No, I probably didn't. We're going to talk about it now. So, Son of the Walkie said Tesla Shanghai Megapack factory is 30% done. That's fucking insane. That's insane. And James Stevenson, my boy here, he's actually, he seems like he's soft-spoken. He's got his dog with him, too, on his videos. And he's very data-driven, very nerdy. You'd think this guy was like this little timid, tiny guy. He's a giant. But anyway, he said Tesla cumulative revenue since founding. And he's like, looks okay to me. I think it looks okay, too, guys. Focus on signal. You got the city of Pasadena using police cars, the Model Y as police cars, and they say they love it. Imagine when they start buying Cybertrucks. Meta, if you look over in the the left side of the screen on my display here, you'll see that it's doing quite well. Here's somebody using a Cybertruck and crushing it, using it as a work truck. It's a work truck, guys. China posted a video saying the robotaxi coming soon. So, again, this is very like almost Japanese, Chinese, definitely Asian manga type stuff here, but they're talking about this stuff coming, and it's happening fast. And then again, Ford recalled 499,000 cars. These cars, this was a while ago, but these cars were like catching on fire and losing control. So just remember, keep that in perspective. All right, Tesla, I think we're good. We're going to jump to PayPal. So I liked what Palantir Hotline had to say here. He said, I showed earlier in the day with PayPal that we're way down here, but we're officially starting to break out. And again, it just looks great. We officially closed the day up here. This is the monthly time frame, so it's not quite above that. We'll see how the week closes, but I love this, and I think we're set to go to 90 in the next few months, if not next 2 quarters. But he said PayPal breakout is officially here. Outstanding quarterly report. It was beautiful. If you guys didn't see my earnings call, you could even just skip to the end of my summary of it, but there was a lot of good stuff that was said throughout. Price target upgrades galore. Again, they beat and raise guidance. They raise guidance on them buying stock back too. Everything is good. Fastlane looks great and ready to expand. You got new ads and offering additional products. You got and Jamie, the CFO, is brilliant, along with the CEO too. The whole group is just brilliant. And getting ready to just crush it. 6 billion share buybacks in 2024. Possible rate cuts on the horizon. All these things are set up for PayPal to do really well. And again, Crossroads, we exceeded his expectations. This is Rory. We exceeded his expectations for. No, it is Roy. My God. for what was going to happen in the quarter. And Gergevin, I think his views on Tesla are just stupid, but he is a bullish on PayPal, and I agree with him. And he says PayPal closed the day up 9%. This is just yesterday. In my opinion, PayPal would have been up 15% if the rest of the market didn't sell off. So he's saying I think PayPal still has some more to go, and I agree with all of that. Let's look over here real quick and see if there's anything else I missed. I'm gonna pull up Hood, Square. We already did ARC. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at those real quick. We'll see how miners are doing too. So Hood's retracing a little bit. This is actually anywhere down to like 1918 is a good support zone for Hood, and I don't see it going much lower than that. So maybe if Bitcoin sells off, maybe we get that 18-ish range on Hood. Let's look at Square. I think I did this a little bit yesterday, but Square has not even really broken out yet. So I think we might even just test down maybe a few more days. When is earnings on Square? I need to check. Oh, it's coming fast. I wish I could do some of these, but I'll be traveling. Let me do something real quick. We want to look and see what earnings look like for the rest of this week with the stocks I follow. So again, we had Meta today. We also have Mercado Libre, so it'll be interesting to see what Tanner says about that. We had Teladoc. How are they doing? I haven't looked at that one in a while. I want to see what their performance is like. See if they get crushed again. I don't know if this is a good company. I've been doing research. I haven't hated everything I've been seeing. It's incredibly abused. Oh no, they're bad. They're real bad. Look at how much lower this thing's dropped, and it's down 12%. And after hours too. Let me just go way down here. So this is just horrific. So I want to look at Teladoc, and then I'll get to your guys' stuff here in a second. But yeah, so Teladoc is today. Evidently did not go well. Tomorrow we have Apple, Amazon, Coinbase, Mara, MicroStrategy, Square/Block. Tomorrow is going to be huge for the stuff that I like to follow. I wish I was here for it. I will be looking at it in the afternoon and probably posting on X on some of my thoughts, inevitably. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where those go. Let's look at next week, though. So next week we have Microsoft on Tuesday, PayPal, SoFi, Starbucks. It says Mercado Libre. I don't know if that's... Oh, no, sorry. These have already happened. My brain isn't working. I hate this calendar confuses me. We have, let's see, Hims, Palantir, Simon Property. I follow Simon Property because they're malls, and it lets me help understand what happens in that space with commercial. But Palantir, that'll be a heck of a one. I don't know. I'll see if Amit wants to do something with Palantir earnings, or I'll just do it myself. But I'd like to see if I can do it with Amit or somebody like that. Maybe he'll have a big group. We got Airbnb. I want to track that one on Tuesday. I want to know how they're doing. We got Bitfarms. I don't care so much. I'll probably focus on Airbnb, and then maybe touch over to this one just to see how it's going. But I will be doing a lot of earnings stuff. So probably Palantir next week, Airbnb, maybe a little Bitfarms, definitely CleanSpark, and Robinhood. I'd love to take a look at. Riot on Thursday. So I'll be doing a lot of earnings calls in regard to these, and then I'll probably even step into TerraWolf the next week, and then Cypher. Probably I'll leave new for Tanner. He can do that stuff. I will do DLocal, DLO on Wednesday too. So I'm going to be doing a lot of earnings calls over the next 2 weeks. I might do a few more on top of that. So we're going to really start crushing it. But yeah, I want to look real quickly at TDoc. I don't think it's going to be in here yet, though, but I will check. I don't know if it'll be updated. It might be. Oh, nope, it is. Good job, Alejandro. So, again, total visits are down. These guys just haven't done good since the pandemic. If you look over here, well, no, I guess they've went up, but the growth just stopped. It's negative 2% year over year. They can't make money. They lost $837 million last quarter on $642 million in revenue. So yeah, I see no reason to invest in this company. I take it back. It looks horrible. All right, let me go back up here. I'll start looking at you guys' comments and start picking up the stocks you were talking about. As long as I don't miss any. Palantir, let's see, long NVIDIA. NVIDIA could run a ways. Let's pull that one up real quick. I actually So we did bounce at like the perfect spot, if I remember correctly. Let's just take a look here. Yeah, this is great, actually. So let me just do this. I need to save this too. I don't know if I've done a good job saving this. This is such a stupid fucking stock, dude. Jesus. I mean, like, stupid good. Is October 2022 the appropriate time for this? No, it's probably the pandemic. Nah, let's do it here for now. Just because there's been so much price action, I don't want to go back that far. All right, so I will make this argument real quick here. If we move this over, you can see we really bounced at like a good spot, right? This is where we had like some consolidation before going higher. We wicked down underneath this on the daily, but if I look at it on the weekly, look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. So on the weekly, we're above it. We're going to close above it. And if anything, again, another bull flag. Just flat consolidation and trading. And then there's probably many other bull flags throughout. Or just straight up because the stock was ridiculous. But again, the financials back it up. So I personally think NVIDIA is going to do great. And what are we looking at here? Earnings for these guys is the 24th of August. Okay, cool. So I don't know. It depends on, like, maybe we break up higher and we get in the 200s, and then earnings is a sell the news event. It's possible. Are the Tesla Leaps still worth it? Yes, I believe they are. They're only up 100%. They were up 300, over 300%. So I think they're still cheap. C-List question is, would Jesse buy those same calls today? PayPal is up quite a lot. Which calls were you talking about? I would buy PayPal calls. I'd buy ArcG calls. I'd probably buy Tesla calls if I wasn't already up, $800,000 on them. Disease Kodak. Should I look to buy PayPal calls now or wait? I would buy them now. I would buy them now if it was me. Because again, I don't think they're that expensive. I think there's a great return. You can run the options calculator and everything based upon my Options 101 video. The Machine says, good afternoon, Jesse. Can you please check GCT? Let me do that. Yeah, we're going to get through as many stocks as we can today, guys. I owe you guys. If you do tip, then it guarantees that I will definitely get to your stock. Sometimes I don't make it through the full list because people just add to it. You guys are sneaky that way. This is interesting. What is GCT? GigaCloud Technology. Okay. Wow, that's quite the round trip, isn't it? Let's see here. November 2022. So this thing just went up, got decimated, and then now it's back. So let's just say, God, I don't know. If that's the bottom, could be. No, I don't like that. Let's do this differently. I'm not going to do an extension. I don't think that's the right move. I'm going to do a retracement. So give me 1 second here. Why am I doing a retracement, you say? That's a great question, whoever said that. Or if it was the voice in my head. Here's why I'm doing a retracement. Because there's something I don't like that I'm seeing on this. We'll look at the financials here in a second. They could negate some of this. They always can. But here's what I want to show you guys, just from a learning technical standpoint. Here's what I don't like. This green line, this fib level, the .5, looks like a support zone, right? But this line up here looks like a descending triangle, and that sucks. I made 2 of these inadvertently, whatever. That sucks. So you could get price action that continues to roll over, and the 200 daily moving average is over here. Let's look at the actual financials on this company. I'm going to save it real quick. And but I'd be worried from a technical level that we'll see a drop. Again, it made a round trip, right? It went up when the IPO or whatever happened, and then it just got crushed. Now let's look at estimates. They look good. They look good. EPS looks good. Yeah, revenues continuing to grow. They grew by 96% in revenues. Profits were up 69%. They've got a forward PE of 9. Are you fucking shitting me? Oh, it's China. This is China. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, I don't give a shit about this. That's why the PE. So yeah, I got excited for a second. China's fucked. This is probably going to roll over from the technicals. The PE, the forward PE of 9 got me super excited for a tech company. I was like, that's insane, but it's China. So, I mean, that's why. So, I don't like it. That's my vote. Just because I'm biased on China. I think that China is getting ready to have huge, huge problems financially, no matter how much money they pump into the markets. I think a lot of that will just escape, which is great for global liquidity. We love that. All right, Meta. Yeah, we got Meta here somewhere. Let's pull it up. Wow, look at that. This red line is peak volumes going back to at least May of 2024. Let's go back further. So let's see what we got here. So peak volumes way down here, but yeah, we're doing all right. Again, we're above a big volume shelf. We're trying to get above it. I'm sorry. We're up here because it's after hours and they did really well for earnings and they're up 4.5%. I would argue Meta looks like it's ready to take off again. Now, what is the PE for Meta? How are we sitting? I know these guys financial. They just make money off of money. It's stupid. Look at their net income per quarter, $13.5 billion. It's no small trivial amount. Even when they lose 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion in a quarter from Reality Labs, it doesn't even matter. It's just ridiculous. I don't believe these family daily active numbers. I've been seeing lots of data, and Elon likes to repost this, indicating that Meta and Instagram and these series of companies are overstating the amount of people actually using the applications and how far your advertising dollars are going, and they're going to get sued. They just got sued for like data privacy things for like 1.4 billion or so. There's so many problems, I think, morally, ethically, and maybe structurally with Meta in regard to the way they're running their company, and the fact that we could see a degradation in advertising dollars if X, which is much smaller right now, starts to take some of that away. You got to remember there's billions of people that use Meta between Instagram and Meta, and I think it's WhatsApp. They've got so many fucking platforms. And then if Oculus does well and that actually starts to turn it. So there's things that could bring Meta higher and higher, but I do question some of it, and I think they're going to have problems in the future. But from a technical standpoint and looking at their stupid, ridiculous net income levels and double-digit growth, I mean, 22% year-over-year revenue growth, and their estimates still show them growing. This thing could do all right. The PE ratio on it right now, let's see what it's at, 23. That's not crazy. So, I mean, it could go up. It's probably going to go up if the market goes up. Let's see here. Carvana was a beat. eBay was a beat. How are these guys doing? Let's look at all of them real quick. I'm amazed Carvana was a beat, actually. Are you fucking shitting me? That is Carvana, right? CVNA. I'm going to make a copy. I thought I had this one, but whatever. I'll have it now. All right. And Bitcoin still, it's riding the 100 moving average right now, but I could see it rolling over, and that's on the daily time frame. Carvana, still doing well, 12.77%. This will be a good one. A year from now, if Carvana's continuing to do well, it's had a hell of a bounce. All the people shorting this stock, look at this. This was like a for sure thing. Like if you shorted this, you were going to make a ton of money. They were at 375 and they got all the way down to $3.61. That is a like 99, what is that, 98%? Jesus. This was a money maker, dude. So here's the thing. I think Carvana in the future, the car market, I think is still dangerous. Don't get me wrong. It could go up for a while, next year, year and a half, 2 years maybe. Yeah, 99% loss. But yeah, that's just crazy. That is so fucking nuts. Let's see how Carvana's doing as a company. I'm going to save this chart. I'm going to skip fibs and stuff for them for now. I want to see the actual financials. That's amazing. That's a hell of a recovery. They still have tons of debt. Their revenue's creeping up. Let's see how they did on the yearly. So 2022, fuck them. Fed raised rates. They've been dropping, right? But 2023, they actually have positive net income. If we look at it back on the quarterly, they did pretty good for this one. 455 million is not a bad number for a $15 billion company. Their estimates are pretty flat. But again, the current PE is 42. Forward says is 0. I think that needs to recalc, but or maybe it is close to that now. But yeah, this actually looks strong right now, which is crazy. Carvana is a company that you would really think should be dying, but rates going up. This is the narrative I'm talking about. Rates going down are likely to bring auto up. So it just looks good in the end, guys. It looks good in the end. Only ByteDance is scummier than Meta. Yeah, agreed. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Was there another one? PayPal we talked about. eBay. eBay was another one. I haven't looked at eBay in so long. This is just a dying company, right? Is there any growth in eBay? But they beat, you said. So 2% growth, revenue growth year over year. It's got a PE of 11.79 for forward, which is lower than the current PE. Share buybacks, I mean, shit. They got like almost half the shares they had, like 40% less shares than they had in 2019. That's crazy. Let's look at the yearly. Yeah, look at this. Look at the shares used to be in like 2004 when this was a real company. And look at it. It's just, holy shit. Like even 2012, they had 1.3 billion and now they have 530 million. I would say this is a value trap. Yeah. But they beat, right? But I don't care about this company. Fuck them. I only care about companies that are building the future, not ones that are just slowly dying. Bliss L. He's an independent progressive. Oh, that was from earlier. Let me scroll down. 10-year bonds breaking out. Yeah, they could be. Bliss. For sure, I don't agree with this. Policies as much as respectable. John Ajarian, you think Bitcoin dip besides technicals? Okay, we talked about that. Let me see if there's other stocks in here. I'm starting to get caught up with you guys. 1 second. We did look at a few. We didn't really look at the miners or MicroStrategy. I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll look at more of you guys' stocks. So MicroStrategy, taking a little bit of a dive. Again, with Bitcoin dropping, it could do that again tomorrow. I'd say all in all, though, this looks pretty solid. If anything, this kind of looks like a W bottom getting ready to break out. So we'll see what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin's going to be the big game changer. It looks like it might already be bouncing now. If it can get back above, if Bitcoin can get above the 65.5 range, that'll be really good. That's that 0.5 fib level. I think that'll help all these stocks. MicroStrategy looks bouncy though to me. Doesn't have to be if Bitcoin rolls over. Mara actually looks, again, finding support on the 200. That looks super bullish to me. It needs to start moving now. Honestly, this triangle that I was drawing is kind of retarded anyway, so I'm probably just going to take that out. I'm going to do this instead. I think this is a better draw. It's more like a pennant, if we're just being honest. It's something almost like this. But I'd have to draw it like a little more wicky and maybe a little more slanty. Something like that. That's kind of what we're looking at with Mara right now. So if Bitcoin really takes a hit, it could dive. It could dive to the 50, which is at 17 something. It could even, I mean, theoretically, it could go down to the 13s. I don't think that's happening, though. I really don't. I don't think that's happening. I don't think Bitcoin takes that big of a hit. This is a nice consolidation on CleanSpark. This is a really nice consolidation, in my opinion. This just screams getting ready to go up. So I like CleanSpark across the board. Let me hit Cypher real quick. Cypher took a decent hit over the weeks ahead. Again, it was at like $8. Now it's down to $5.28. But almost flat on the day if you take the down 1.5 and then up 1% in after hours. So those all look great. Let me see what else we had in here. Looking at stocks. Yeah, government. Alex Garcia says government intervention in people's lives always leads to less freedom and government corruption. Yeah, and it's really bad for business. I mean, look at Venezuela. Look at Venezuela. Look at Argentina for the last 100 years. Look at how well Russia's doing. Look at China doing 2.5x the debt to GDP versus the United States. When in 2008, they were the best position for an economic downturn because they had so much more in the way of assets versus debt. And now they're fucked. So if you want to see what communism and government intervention and socialism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, if you want to see how well it takes care of your country, just look at every country that's done it. Everyone. It doesn't even matter if they were heavily sanctioned. They're just fucked because governments are not efficient. There is no incentive in communism and in socialism to do well. And if you don't have an incentive to do well, you don't have Elon Musk, you don't have Google, you don't have Meta. None of these things exist. You want to see the Russian version of Tesla? It doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't fucking exist. Let's look at Russian-made cars. Let's look that up, okay? Let's look at Russian-made cars. I want to see images of a Russian-made car. This is the shit that Russia builds. It's these. It's shit like this, okay? And they're fucking toys, and they're trash. They're trash. One of the best Russian selling cars all the way up through 2023 is this piece of shit. So if you want socialism and communism, this is the innovation you're going to get. This is the growth you're going to get. This is what's going to happen to your society. It's going to digress and fucking fall apart. So if you want that kind of bullshit, vote Kamala Harris. BTB is very interesting. That is what my buddy HH said. So we're just going to take a look. I can't remember what BTBT is. I probably will when I pull it up. Make a copy. I should look up OneMed too. We should see how they did with their adding to allocation. BTBT. Oh, I don't know why my typer skills aren't working. Oh, Bit Digital. Okay. Maybe. This is like, are these guys another AI narrative play? I'll talk about this one more in my video, my mining video. I'm gonna try and get out. Hopefully, I get out in time. But yeah, could this go higher? Sure. Does it look like it should based upon 2021? Sure. Will it? I don't know. We could look over here. Let's just take a look real quick. We'll look at one thing in here. We'll look at what the economics of this company look like. Let's see how much Bitcoin they hold. Crypto holdings, they have about 112 million. Bitcoin held is 956. Not a crazy amount. The forward PE is actually really cheap. Not going to lie. Their Bitcoin production is weirdly cyclical by quarter. Why is that? Huh. I don't know if I can answer that. Well, this will be one of the ones I take a look at. I do love it from the forward PE only being 9. I love the assets versus debt that they have. The share dilution is obscene. That part sucks. Total cost per mined Bitcoin in Q1 rose dramatically. This will be the stuff where I look at the hash rates and the costs and all that stuff to get a better idea, because I think it's important to have the full picture. Would you check out 4? Yes, I can. I'm going to save BTBT. All right. Oh, shift 4. Okay. From a technical level, it looks like it's consolidating. Let me look at what financials are. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Growing company, less than 20 for the forward PE, not crazy. Really good looking guidance. A lot of debt. Their cash pile's going down a little bit of share dilution. Operating expenses don't seem to be scaling well. It's general and administrative. I'd like to see it be R&D. That way they're planning for the future type stuff. But again, the forward PE, if they can maintain the growth, it is attractive. Let's see what they're doing. They're selling more than they're buying, just from internal. And then there's high amounts of short interest. So it makes me wonder if there's some funny business here that people are worried about. Because there's a number of things that look nice here. Stock-based comp isn't high. I like the fact that their revenues are outpacing what appear to be dropping operating expenses here. So this doesn't look horrible. This might be something I want to take a look at. Does this have the rate narrative? I don't know. Software and tech? I don't know. It's interesting, though. It's another one I probably need to look at again. Yeah, HH says 4 is a great stock. Maybe. MB, yep. Thanks for your thoughts of the kids, 0 to 3 years old. I'm willing to increase risk for the kids. I think you should. Family shame if I lose it all. Then don't lose it all. Don't lose it all. Don't. If you buy Tesla, do you think you're going to lose it all? If you buy Tesla, or if you buy Bitcoin now, and then you wait, like, what is it, 15 years, do you think you're going to lose it all? I mean, just if you diversify on asymmetric bets that are really sure things, you're not going to. And again, you could have a little bit, at least put it in like TMF or TLT or something for just a smaller portion to buy the dips. But you won't have family shame, I don't think, man. If I'm wrong, don't sue me, bro. But yeah, I like it. The Localist, he did Fubo last week. Sorry, that company is deteriorating. Nothing unique. I don't like Fubo. It's trash. I own the product. I buy every product that I'm going to invest in, right? So that I can see what it's like and do comparisons. YouTube TV is arguably about the same to better, and they could snap their fingers and fucking destroy that company. All they have is like the sports package. I think who is it? Oh my God, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Not Future Invest. The guy who lives in Vegas, and whatever. If you guys can help me out in the notes. Anyway, Jeremy. Oh my God, Jeremy. He was big into Fubo, and it was the only reason I got interested in it. I think he likes it because of the sport package. They have a unique draw for that. They have some growth, but they can't make money, and they're gonna die. Alex Garcia, after the drop, yes, and yeah, it was scary for a while. I remember 2007, I deployed all my money on tech stocks and oh yeah, dude. 2008, I lost a shit ton of money. I didn't know how options worked, and I did the same thing, but I used credit cards. Needless to say, bankruptcy, and a valuable lesson. So now I actually know how options work, and I know how hedging works, and I know broader markets, and I know the bond markets and treasuries and what happens. I know so much more about than what I knew back then. So now I can actually hedge appropriately. And I got that roughly 70,000 plus in TMF now that's going to help me out. But yeah, not knowing what the fuck you're doing really messes with you, doesn't it? When you go all in at the wrong time. I feel that pain, bro. It literally bankrupted me. I wish I knew about stocks back then. Yeah, right? No, you probably would have done what we did. You probably would have done what Alex and myself did and royally fucked yourself, to be honest. Would have been retired like Jesse. No, man, all my money came from 2017 on, and I retired at 42, roughly a little over 4 years ago. Can't say 4.5, but a little over 4 years ago. And I retired with $375,000 in my investment account. I don't have a lot of expenses, and so I've turned that into my peak of 3.6 million since that time. And right now I'm a little over 3.1, something like that. Looking to be 4 in the next couple of months. So that's quite the turnaround, I would say, in four plus years. MB, Alex Garcia, 1 year-ish of pain, fear to lose the job. It was harsh. 2008 was harsh, dude. It was fucking painful. You had good companies like Amazon going down 90%. Netflix getting decimated. Daniel, thanks for joining, bro. I'm from Spain. I'm starting to see it over there. Good thing. Good thing to live in the U.S. Oh, that's Alex. Yeah, it is good to live in the U.S., I think, right now. Silas, Russia does not build many cars now. They're fucked now. They're fucked. It's all Chinese cars. China owns them. I think Russia wants to get away from that. That's why I think it'll be good if Trump gets elected. I think he's going to probably force Ukraine and Russia to seal the deal and close down things. And that way Russia can start opening up its economy, because Russia is really under the nutsack of Xi Jinping right now. And I don't think they want to hold the balls that long. And they want to get out. I think they want to get out. And come here if you like those analogies. Oh, fuck. Breaking, the U.S. government, MB said, just sold 30,000 Bitcoin. Oh, that makes sense. I should have got caught up with chat. Oh, my God. Democrats just fucked themselves. Are you kidding me? That is great. Oh, my God, that is great. Oh, my God, that is great. Oh, my God. Buy Kamala. Buy Kamala. That's why Bitcoin's dropping. Okay, so we got this. That's good. I'm going to put that out there. Let me see. Where did you see this? Where did you see this? Where did you see this? If they sold... Oh, are you sure, dude? Are you sure? Is that a reputable site where you saw that they had sold Bitcoin? Was that a reputable site? Let me go to latest. Let me know where you found that. Oh, I see something deleted. I wonder if that's real. Yeah, can you find that, MB? Find that, dude. I want to see that if you got it. Because that would be damning. That would be damning. I don't think it's real. Carl B. Minger. Let me see what he's got. What's Carl got? Did he give an actual source? I hate it when people fucking don't do that. I like Carl, but... oh, I'm not even following him. Really? What the fuck? Oh, no. Update. He deleted the tweet. Yeah, I was going to say, oh, that might have dropped the market, though, bro. That might have dropped it. That's probably why we saw that drop and why we're starting to come back up a little bit now. Oh, I wish that would have been true. Just because I don't want Kamala. I think Kamala is going to be, she's literally voted the most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate. That is not what we need right now. She's going to fuck us. She's the dumbest piece of shit from an economic standpoint, and really probably from an IQ standpoint of any president in history. And I'm not actually saying that Donald Trump has a huge IQ. He was born into wealth, so there's a distinct possibility that his genetics might not be too bad because his dad made a ton of fucking money too, and the rest of the family doesn't seem to be too bad at it. But again, I don't know. I think things are going to be all right. Whoops, sorry. No worries, dude. I mean, Carl B. Minger is usually a pretty good source, but he must have fucked up. It happens. That's why we have X, right? Yep. Sela said, yep, I remember making some good money at Countryside Finance. Oh, Countryside. That was my mortgage company. They went bankrupt. Or Countrywide? Or are you talking about Countryside or Countrywide? Also, this China digital television ADR doubled in 2008 overnight. I believe it. Just crazy shit happened. Albert, I saw the same tweet as MB as well. It was a thing. Probably deleted. Yep, it is. All right, so again, I'll try and see if I can get a mining video out. My takeaway is that we are set for good things. And if we don't actually see Kamala selling Bitcoin or Biden, I mean, who the fuck is the president right now? I don't know. Anyway. It's the interns, I guess. The interns on X are the president of the United States. Trump got a hold of Carl's X account. Yeah, maybe. Nah, he doesn't care. Even though Trump did get a Bitcoin from the conference, I don't think he cares much. It wouldn't behoove him to be highly invested in Bitcoin when he's trying to pump it right now. So I don't think he's doing that. I know it's a joke, but I'm just saying. I don't think he's not going to be beating that drum too hard. If he owned it, he wouldn't be beating the drum too hard. So, but he is beating the drum, and no other candidate's doing that outside of RFK, and I can't see RFK winning. He just doesn't have the market share. Anyway, guys, love you. It was a good time. I will be back if I get the mining video out. It'll be out by tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I'll probably be on X a little bit over the weekend. I'll probably make a video on Sunday. So between now and then, you take it easy. And I guess since Bitcoin's dropping, we're going to go out like this. Peace out.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh.
Buy that fucking dip, dump it on the top and spit. Buy that fucking dip, yeah. Buy that fucking dip, yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. People love the pump, yeah. Got them lining up. Wow. See us winning, FOMO in and YOLO by the top. Dream of Lamborghini, girlfriend in bikini. Front covered Forbes magazine is where you'll see me. Oh, what? How? Price went down. Who will save us now? Felt like a hero. Now the fear is here and it's clear as steering to zero. Yeah. Hands weak, bags heavy, and I'm ready to forget about already all the hopes and the dreams. So puke your position like mom spaghetti. I'm hungry and got long cash on the ready to just buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying. Yeah. When they tell you their investment conviction is dying. Oh no. But the market's dead. Yeah. That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up. Guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend through the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip.
Now is not the time to be in cash. Have a good night.